What is up, everybody? Welcome to Backlog and Beyond, the podcast where we talk about the old video games we want to beat and the new ones we play instead. I'm your host, Nathan Hawkins.
And I'm your other host, Snuggles, and this is episode number 29.
Welcome back, everybody. We had a great show for you tonight.
As usual. As we always say.
As we always say. We're going to be going over some news. We're going to be talking about the freebies of the month. And, of course, our top 10 of 8th gen. But before we jump in any of that, we're going to go over what we've been playing this week. Jeff, what have you been playing?
I got 100% on Miles Morales, so I beat the game in New Game Plus.
Nice.
So that was a huge accomplishment. So I've been dabbling into the original Spider-Man because they added a couple more trophies that I need to get.
Oh, that's cool.
But I immediately deleted Miles Morales because I needed the space. I missed 2 terabytes. I have 12 games and it's full. I think I deleted Red Dead as well because I'm not going to be playing that for a while.
I was going to say Red Dead is 100 gigs, so you may as well save yourself some space.
I know, I'm hoping it'll be optimized if they ever release it for PlayStation 5, but it's not there right now.
I know, that'd be nice.
Yeah. I'm also playing NBA 2K21. My guy went from high school to college, and they automatically put me on the Florida Gators, which was great.
That's
and then
awesome.
I picked up Madden 2021, and the PlayStation 5 version released yesterday. And I got to college there, too, and I got to pick which one, so I picked Florida Gators so that
That's
it's consistent.
so cool. That's
which
awesome.
Is pretty neat. I had the biggest issue with that, though, because to do Face of the Franchise, which is a story mode, you have to be connected to your EA account.
Oh.
And so I went, it said, oh, yours has been disconnected. And so I checked all my accounts, and they were fine. And I got on with support. I told them my old PlayStation username. And after having to verify so much, they're like, is your email yahoo.com? And I'm like, no.
It's not me.
But you know who it is.
Yeah, I was going to say.
When we lived together, Steven changed the EA account on my Xbox 360 to his email.
Oh, my God.
So the best they could do for it was reactivate his so that I
Dang.
can play single player mode, which was super frustrating.
Oh, my God.
I shouldn't have called
nuts.
his email out like that.
You're
Maybe
right.
edit it out.
He's going to get spam for days.
I know, right? By 3 people. And then I've been dabbling in Bug Snacks, and
Nice.
then they had a promotion where if you subscribe to Google One with their storage and stuff,
Okay.
you can get a free Chromecast and Stadia controller.
What? Oh, I saw this. I did see
I logged
this.
in as me, I logged in as Emily, and I logged in as my mom, and I got 3 Stadia controllers, and I picked up Avengers because it was $20 and you got $10 off.
What?
Stadia coupon. So I'm gonna play that soon.
Dude, that's awesome. I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on Stadia, too.
Yeah, and I have the free version now, so it's gonna be it's only in 1080p, but it looks like it already streams nicely with a little bit of pixels. So that's good.
Cool. I was gonna say that's still fine. 1080p. I mean, that's not like garbage, you know.
Yeah, and so as long as my internet can handle it, and I'm mostly interested in just playing the single player. I want to see where it goes for now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's my week.
Sweet. Well, I also have 100% completed a game. I have officially beat Ghost of Tsushima.
I saw that. Nice.
Everything's done, all the side trophies, all that jazz. It was funny because I was so close, and I was like, I'm missing a haiku. Where the hell is this haiku? And then I realized there's actually a haiku at the very end of the game. And yeah, so in order to get the trophy of all the shrines, the fox dens, the springs, the pillars, the haikus, I had to finish the game. But man, wow. All I have to say is I thought the only game I'd have to make a hard decision in was going to be Red Dead, and this game was so good.
Okay.
I'm not gonna spoil anything, obviously, but I'm just saying there are some hard decisions you make, and there were some tears shed on my end.
Do you think they make a real difference?
In terms of story, no.
Okay.
But
It's
like a personal thing. It's because you're going through this whole journey, and it really just comes down to how you feel about everything that you've done. And it's like, okay, so you almost have to think what would Jen do and what would I do? And it's really a really tough decision. So I employ people to go play this game and beat it and 100% it. I mean, there's still a few things I have to do, find some Mongolian artifacts, some singing cricket lanterns, but they're not necessary to get the platinum, obviously. But man,
so
I had
able to do it in one playthrough.
Yes.
Oh, that's nice.
Mhm.
I hated when I got through Spider-Man. And they're like, all right, you need to do it again.
Yeah. Well, Spider-Man, the first one, you don't have to do a second playthrough. It's just
You do now.
Oh, you do now? What?
To
That
get
is.
but it's like a second platinum.
I was gonna say because I already got the first platinum.
Yeah, no, it's like a second platinum.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I know about that because like Ghost of Tsushima has one as well. There's a
Oh,
there's a second set of platinum that you can get, or a second set of trophies, not platinum, because the platinum trophy usually comes with the original set of trophies that you get. But then there's additional trophies you can get just to increase your user score, for like the new game plus. And then there's also a set of trophies on Ghost of Tsushima Legends. They don't go towards the platinum, but they're their own set of trophies. That way you don't feel like you have to do everything in the entire game to get the platinum. So that's how it is for Ghost of Tsushima. I already platinumed Spider-Man. I didn't have to play the new game plus to get another platinum, but
it
I
might
don't know.
be like a remastered platinum.
Like maybe it's like a separate
Yeah.
platinum trophy. I don't know. But anyway, that's interesting. But yeah, I'm super thrilled for that, and now I got to move on to the next thing, which I don't know what's going to be yet. So got to figure that out.
Hmm.
Anyway, cool. Cool. Moving on to the news. I guess if you want to just quickly talk about the holiday giveaway we're doing,
Yeah.
this
So
month.
we sent out a form. It's on our tree. What tree? Link tree.
Linktree.
It's on our link tree and it's on our Twitter.
Mhm. And
If you
Instagram.
look at the one I posted, it's in the bottom. Is it in our bio?
It's in our bio.
It's in our bio. You should check those out. We're giving away prizes up to $20 for 5 or so lucky listeners. Um, Fill out the form. You can get. There's a spot to tell us what kind of games you play, like
Hmm.
what platforms, and send us any wish list that we could pull from.
Hmm.
And we're gonna pull them live on the air on December 19th with our guests Clay and Alex.
Yeah. It's gonna be
Yeah, I'm
awesome.
pretty excited.
It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So, and did you have any other news that you brought to the table?
Yeah, I have a couple. It looks like there's going to be a Bioshock 4 with the new director, which is crazy.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear this one yet.
Yeah, it's very like low rumblings. I don't think there's an official announcement, but there was like a graphic and everything.
Okay, cool.
Oscar Isaac was cast as Snake in the Metal Gear Solid movie, which
Hmm.
probably won't start filming till the end of next year.
Right.
And then Kratos is coming to Fortnite, and then Master Chief probably is coming after that
That's
for
insane.
skins, which is leading to speculation of a God of War teaser at the Video Game Awards on Thursday.
Nice.
Yeah,
How do you feel about the Metal Gear Solid movie idea?
I'm down for Oscar Isaac.
Me too. Me too.
But like there's Assassin's Creed and many other examples of movies that really didn't understand the game.
Right.
But I'm excited, but cautious. I'm more excited and more. I have more faith in the Last of Us HBO series that was recently greenlit.
Yes.
And hopefully it just follows and expands on the story that was already there.
Right. I have a good feeling of the Last of Us series because it's a series. I, however,
Yeah.
am going to be more cautious regarding the Metal Gear Solid thing because it's a
Mhm.
movie. And
I
if
honestly don't see it getting made.
I feel like the Metal Gear Solid film is the problem with Metal Gear Solid is there's too much story. There's way too much going on in those storylines to where I think if they're going to try to cram an entire Metal Gear Solid story into one movie, it's just going to be confusing. If they're going to Hideo Kojima it, you know what I mean? Like it's just going to be too much. Um,
I think they should just, instead of a movie, just do that donkey video where he tries really hard to go through the story and just like yells it. Like I think that should be the entire movie.
right? That'd be amazing.
And
That'd be
then like
amazing.
instead of video game clips, it's Oscar Isaac doing all these things.
That's fantastic. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of weary about Metal Gear Solid as a movie. If it were a series, if let's say if HBO were picking it up or like, Stars or
Hmm.
one of those major one of those major networks, I'd probably say, okay, this
Yeah,
actually could be good. But because it's a movie, I'm already gonna say it's gonna suck.
I've been hurt by Max Payne before.
Right? Right? God, Max
Although,
Payne was so bad.
speaking of video game movies, I heard there's going to be a teaser trailer for Uncharted, the movie with Tom
Oh,
Holland at the Video Game
dude.
Awards.
I
They
could see
released
that.
the publicity photo, and looked pretty dope.
That's awesome.
So yeah,
I'm super. That actually, see, that is actually going to work though. I think as a movie because they already are placed in the video game world as movies. It's basically playing a movie to begin with. So I feel like Uncharted's different in the sense that they are movies already. So
yeah,
as a movie, it's going to work. I think.
yeah. Emily just texted me that Clay is in chat, and he said the director is a big fan of Metal Gear Solid, and he
Okay.
wants to make the movie like legitimately good.
Okay. Well, fair enough. I mean,
So like at least he's a fan, and as long as
Yeah,
he doesn't have creative control like Michael
right.
Fassbender, who'd never played an Assassin's Creed game.
I thought Michael Fassbender was a big Assassin's Creed fan, though. He
No,
was talking
I
about
thought
how he was a
I thought
huge
I heard
fan.
that he never played one, but he had a lot of input he wanted to put on it.
Interesting. Well, that's not good. That's
Neither
just
was the movie.
yeah. The movie was. I fell asleep, man. I fell asleep. I really wanted. I really was hoping that was going to be the video game movie to like take over, and it just sucked. So
Yep.
what you gonna do? Okay, cool. I got some news as well. Nintendo Switch firmware got an update. It's a version 11. It's available now. Um, but they basically added like a bunch of things I thought was pretty cool. They added a Switch Online button on the home screen, so you have like quick access to the online store now. They have a trending tab, so you can actually see what your friends are playing. But
Dope.
I think the biggest one was being able to transfer screenshots. So now you can actually transfer the screenshots directly to your phone instead of having to post to Facebook or Twitter
Oh,
or
that's
whatever.
nice.
Yeah, so if you but you basically you can connect wirelessly via a QR code, and then you can
Hmm.
transfer up to 10 screenshots and one video at a time
I want
to
that
your
for
phone.
PlayStation.
Like, well, here's the thing. Like, I've been talking about this with people on Twitter for a while now. Xbox, they have handled it the best.
Yeah.
If you look at their user interface on their app, it is like clean and flawless. It's a one to one of your screenshots and videos on your phone, and you could take that, download it to your phone, and use it any way you want. And that's what Sony needs to do,
Yep.
and that's what ultimately I think Nintendo needs to do instead of this weird QR stuff.
It's a
Um,
step in the right direction, so I'm not going to yell at him for it.
I agree. I totally agree. They're actually making strides, whereas PlayStation has not made any changes to their transferring of screenshots and videos, which I think is stupid.
Yep.
And I'm going to say stupid. It's
Just like
valid in
Persona
this case.
5.
Yeah, exactly. No. Also, you can transfer. You can now transfer to the PC via your Switch via USB.
Hmm.
You can also prioritize multiple game downloads. There's also some new features that allow saved game data stored in the cloud to be automatically downloaded to multiple Switch systems if linked to the same account. So that was pretty cool. They also did like some bug fixes, some stability improvements, and they've also added 12 new user icons to celebrate the Mario's 35th anniversary thing. So, and you can also, I guess, name some preset button configurations too.
That's
But
awesome.
but yeah, I think the big one was definitely the screenshot thing, and I think Sony needs to
Yeah.
hurry up and catch up with Xbox and Nintendo
Yeah,
like
because
ASAP.
I'm rarely taking them on Nintendo. I take them all the time on PlayStation.
Yeah, and I would take a lot more honestly on PlayStation if they were automatically synced to my PlayStation app. If that was
Yeah.
a thing, I'd be doing it all the time. But I'm
Yep.
just like
It's
it's
not
such a
even synced with Facebook anymore. You have to
no.
upload everything to Twitter or
Yeah.
YouTube.
You have to post it to Twitter first if you want to like download the photos. You have to like post it, quickly download it from your post, and then 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 delete the post.
Yeah.
It's so stupid. But anyway, okay, cool. So that's all the news we have for you guys. Moving on to free games of December, the freebies of the month. Um, so we got what is this? Oh, here we go. So starting with PS Plus, this is going to be for both PS4 and PS5. We have Worms Rumble, which is like an intense real-time arena-based 32-player cross-platform combat thing. It's kind of like I was watching the videos and it kind of looks like Fallout Shelter, but it's like an arena combat fighting game with little worms killing each other.
I've
Looks
heard the
pretty
Worms series is really great.
yeah, so it looks fun.
Yeah.
We also so the Steam description says, "Get ready to rumble in deathmatch or last worm standing modes, where you're only ever a holy hand grenade away from death." So anyway, it looked fun. I mean,
Yeah.
it may not be my thing, but it looks like it could be a lot of fun with a bunch of friends.
Yeah.
We have Rocket Arena. It's a 3v3 third-person online shooter developed by Final Strike Games and published by Electronic Arts. This one just kind of looked like another third-person online shooter. And then Just Cause 4 is coming as well, which everybody knows what Just Cause is.
Yeah.
It's like all that crazy mayhem, and you can use like zip lines and all that crazy
Grand Theft
stuff.
Auto with more freedom.
Exactly, Grand Theft Auto with freedom. I like that. So next we have for Xbox games with gold or the Game Pass Ultimate, we have The Raven Remastered, which is going to be coming out December 1st through December 31st, just like a point and click adventure video game. They have like elements of stealth and detective work. On Wikipedia it said it includes some cross-genre gameplay standards such as lockpicking doors and gathering key systems. Also includes a point system which serves as a ranking system and can be used to unlock new areas of the map. One of its main gameplay elements is puzzle solving. So this one looked pretty
Yep.
cool. I think I've heard of the Raven before, but I
Hmm.
don't think I'd ever seen any gameplay footage.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. We have Bleed 2 coming out December 16th through January 15th. It's an action-oriented platform video game developed by Canadian indie studio Boot Disc Revolution. Um, it looks like a very Max Payne kind of game, because you can slow down time, you can dual wield weapons, and you can like launch yourself forward and like shoot things in all different kinds of directions. So it looks pretty cool. It almost like it's like Celeste, but like if Celeste were in the Matrix. That's kind of what it reminded me of. Um, we have Saints Row: Gat Out of Hell, which is coming December 1st through December 15th, and Stacking, which is coming December 16th through December 31st. And this one actually looks kind of cool. It's based on the little Russian dolls where they stack inside of each other. And so the description says the player controls the smallest doll, Charlie Blackmore, who has the ability to stack and unstack into larger dolls, and use their ability to solve puzzles to allow Charlie to free his older siblings and put an end to child labor enforced by the antagonist, the Baron. Puzzles within the game have multiple solutions and include additional puzzles and challenges that allow the player to explore the game's world outside of the main story. So it looked cute. It was actually like probably pretty much the only game that I saw, and I was like, oh, I'd actually want to play that. So it looks pretty cool. And then for Epic, these are free. We have Mud Runner, which is like a simulation game where you actually just drive through muddy, unpaved roads and you deliver, I think, wood or something. I think it's
I
wood.
think that one's over. That one ended on Thursday.
Oh, okay, my bad. I thought that was
No, no. So
fresh.
every Thursday they release a new one. So the next one you have is the current one.
Okay, cool. So right now is Cave Story Plus, which is just a remake for Cave Story, which I
Hmm.
guess is like a Metroidvania that was made in 2004.
Yeah.
Metroidvania style kind of game. So yeah, those are the freebies. Any of these look interesting to you?
I'm gonna be honest. No. Um,
Not
I
at
I
all.
might pick up Just Cause 4 and play it for a little bit, but I
Okay,
third one I heard was infinitely better, and I couldn't get into it.
fair enough.
I just like that grapple hook.
Right.
Um, I enjoyed playing Saints Row. I think we played the third one together,
Yeah,
or like the fourth one, whatever
the
the
superhero
superhero one
one.
was.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was a lot of fun, but we never got through it.
Right.
I just remember the quests being boring.
Right.
Other than that, this is not a great month.
No, it's not. It really isn't. I mean, the only thing I thought looked interesting was stacking, but that's only for Xbox, so
Yeah,
there's that.
so that's a no from you.
No, Scotty. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna move on to our main topic. We're gonna be talking about our top 10 of 8th gen. So this is including the PS4 when it came out in like late 2013, all the way up until 2020 when the PS5 came out and
Mhm.
Xbox One and all that stuff, or Xbox Series X. So, but I don't know. I kind of just maybe like if you, this is kind of like off the cuff, but I kind of wanted to see like if you could like describe 8th gen like in a nutshell, how was 8th gen for you overall? Like, was it good? Was it bad compared to like previous generations that you've gamed in?
Way to put me on the spot like that.
I know, I know. I mean, for me, I can go first. For me, if I feel like this was a little more important of a generation for me because I think I took gaming a little more seriously this generation. Like I remember getting my PS4 like I think a year after it had come out. So I was like a little late into the game, but it's still a base PS4 that I have and it's still running. Um but it wasn't until like much later on in the generation I started streaming and I think I really got into gaming at that point and I made some awesome friends, met some really cool people and I think I kind of like put myself in a trajectory to really look more into gaming and like really appreciate like smaller developers and the industry itself. I started listening to more gaming podcasts, because I just wanted to know what was going on in the gaming world, and I feel like I've become more addictive, to be honest, to video games this generation. I don't know if it's just because I've had nothing else to do, prior to my kids coming,
Mhm.
or I don't know. It's just this generation was very important to me just because of how much I immersed myself into the gaming industry itself. So
Mhm. I think this one was the very the end of the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4 in general saw the big evolution of storytelling in video games. Like
okay, yeah,
they're being told to me extremely different and in ways that are comparable to a movie or a TV show or a series.
right, right,
And I also think PlayStation 4 was like the last big massive jump in like graphics quality that you're gonna get, because like
Totally.
if you look at the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2, that was huge.
Yeah.
And the
It
PlayStation 2
was.
to PlayStation 3 was pretty big, and then
It
the 3
was
to 4 was a little smaller, and then like the 4 to 5, it's like depending on which game you play, it doesn't look that different, but they're
right.
working on everything else to make it more immersive experience. Like
Right, right. No, it's true. I think they've expanded on genres in general. Just like the open world genre has kind of like it's now almost like you have expectations now with the open world genre because of what the eighth generation did. I think for open world gaming.
yeah, and
I think
like
2000. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna like if you look at the differences in like frame rate and like
Oh yeah.
the depth of field and the adaptive
Hmm.
triggers, they're working on stuff like that rather than feeling the need to make it more lifelike. Because like I don't know how much more lifelike they can get. Like maybe with some of the motions, but like
I know.
I saw that someone's been posting screenshots of Red Dead Redemption 2 and sending them to the news
Right?
as
Yeah,
like
yeah,
nature photos, and they're posting them because they're
yeah.
like so and so took this on their hike today.
Alex, like, she tweeted me, like, she tagged me in like a tweet that was for
I
that
think that's how I
story.
saw it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, I've seen this before, and it's so hilarious that they're doing it. But it's true though, people get fooled. I mean,
Hmm.
I've been looking at screenshots on Twitter of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and it looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, my God, we've come so far, and it's really cool, like growing up with gaming and seeing how far it's come.
Yeah.
But I think, I mean, it's hard to like go back and like remember the details of each generation. And I think
Hmm.
that's why this one's really important to me because I'm remembering most of it.
Yeah.
You know, because it's still fresh, I guess. But it's I'm not gonna. I don't think I'll ever forget this generation because of how much I've immersed myself into the industry and all that stuff, and met so
Yeah.
many cool people. So
So
anyway, cool. So yeah, so now we're gonna go over our top 10. We're each gonna talk about our top five individually. So therefore, you will have a top 10.
well,
I'll
9, but
well
yeah.
9, yeah, sure.
Are
I'll go first.
you
My
going to
number
start with your number 5, or are you going to build up to the game that everyone knows what it is?
I'm gonna start with my number five, and work my way up to the game that already knows what it is. Okay,
Okay.
leave me alone. So my number five game is gonna be Fallout 4. Now I know there's a big community that's against this game, but there's also a big community that was for this game because this game actually was received very well, according to Wikipedia. So I was like, well, I don't know. I've heard both stories, but it seems like it did really well when it first came out. Um, but I understand the issues with it because like the only issues I had with it was the voice acting because it didn't allow me to get immersed with my own character and give my character their own voice.
So you like a mute
Yeah,
protagonist.
exactly.
But like what about games like Uncharted?
Well, Uncharted though, it's different because you're not creating your character. You're
So
Nathan
it's not role
Drake.
playing, yeah.
It's not role playing exactly, and
Okay.
that's what Fallout 4 for me has always been. It's been about creating a character, making your own story. And if your character has a very specific voice, then I feel like you're stuck with a certain look of a character. Like I couldn't go complete balls to the wall crazy with my character because he had a very suave, charming Nathan Drake voice. So it's like I couldn't make him look brutish and ugly, you know? I just couldn't you couldn't do it and have it feel right.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was my biggest issue with the game. That and I didn't really get into the town building. It just wasn't my thing.
Wasn't my thing.
It wasn't my thing.
It's not my
But
thing.
anyway, I think this was huge for because it was my favorite world in the entire Fallout franchise. Like out of all the Fallout games I've played, it was my favorite world. It didn't feel too big. It didn't feel too spread out like 3 in New Vegas. The world did lack some greenery, but I think that was fixed with the mods that they had added into the game.
Mm.
Um, but some of my favorite sections of this game were in the cities, like where they had the really narrow streets, the alleyways, the really tall buildings. Like there was always this feeling that you were being watched, and you never knew what was around the next corner. But there was always a real sense of like post-apocalyptic danger that I had playing that game, and I feel like that was the big factor for me was the immersion that they had created with this game. The story was well written. It was intriguing. Crafting was fun. It was simple. It wasn't too complex. It was probably some of my favorite companions of all time, like the robot dude, the detective. I loved his character. I loved Dogmeat. The voice acting was fantastic. But again, just it was the lead actor that I wished wouldn't have had a voice. But overall, I think the reason why I love this game is because it was easily, I think, the most immersive Fallout game to date. And So yeah.
Well, I have some responses from people who don't agree.
All right,
Um,
bring it on.
I'm taking a piece of the first one. Some of these I grabbed too because they're
Okay.
prepare for disappointment and lots of it, especially if you're a big fan of the series. Calling this game an RPG would be like calling a McDonald's hamburger food. You would be technically correct, but it's of the lowest quality possible and made by people who obviously don't care.
Oh,
From
wow.
Irritated Stick, 0
Irritated
stars.
0 stars. Nice.
Also, I have, I know the world has been a bad place lately, but no one deserved this. The most disgusting, vile piece of trash to ever be released on console. It is an
Wow.
insult to the gaming industry and a complete shambles of an RPG. Only give this to your enemies, and even then, feel really horrible about it. Really sad day for humanity. By that creepy uncle, 0 stars.
Oh, that creepy uncle. Wow. Wow, wow. That creepy uncle was really angry that day, apparently.
He did not like it.
Wow, okay. Well, fair enough, you know? So what was your number 5?
My number 5 is The Last of Us 2. I've said it before, this game played me like a puppet. I
Mm-hmm.
understood the rage of the haters
Right.
because I fed into it. But they won me over with the story they were trying to tell. And
Right.
I wish all of the people who brigaded it with bad reviews before the game even played out got to play it with fresh eyes
Right.
before they made judgment on it. Because it's very easy to read the spoilers, what happened, and be like, they don't know what they're doing. They ruined the game. They took out the best part. And I agree. Like, to be as minimal as I can with spoiling, the relationship between Joel and Ellie is what made the game great. Like, the story
Right.
was
Right.
story was good.
Right.
But the importance those characters had to each other and the conversations and the relationship they had made it.
Right.
I regret keeping tabs on the game as it approached because even just watching what Naughty Dog put out, you knew what was going to happen. Like, they were warning
Mhm.
you.
Yep.
I love the story they told with Ellie and her quest to be like Joel when she
Mhm.
sought to avenge him, which ultimately cost her her last connection to Joel. So I truly felt for that game and the characters,
That's
except
amazing.
Abby, but everyone else I like.
Well, what's funny is because, like, yeah, I know you hated Abby so much, but what's funny is a lot of the haters also hated Abby. The people who loved the game loved Abby. So it's
I
kind of funny how you're like you're. I feel like you're actually in the small minority of people who actually didn't like Abby, but actually loved the story that they told still.
I didn't like Abby. I understood Abby,
Okay, fair
and I
enough.
don't think they understood Abby.
I
Like,
get it. I
I
get it.
don't think they saw the reason for playing as her or to make her the way they humanized her. They didn't understand how you should be able to feel for her.
Right,
I
right,
did
right.
feel for her,
Okay.
but I found great joy in making her jump off tall buildings.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Well, is that all you had to say about the game?
that's all I have to say about Last
Okay,
of
well,
Us
I
2.
have a few things to say about this game from these people that did not agree with you.
Okay.
Um, Here we go. This is Siznaru from Metacritic. He says, it was a game that I really expected, but I was really disappointed. This is a 0 point game.
Oh,
I just loved, this was a game I really expected. Really expected what?
I expected it to be released.
I expected. You know, I really expected. This is from a name I don't want to say. It looks like it's Paladin, but like Uber Elite speech.
Mm.
They say, pardon me if there's any spoilers. I don't think there is, but they say, wow, just wow. Did you know revenge is bad? No? Well, this game will take 25 hours of your life just to tell you that in fact it is. Naughty Dog just went full The Last Jedi on this one. Besides the story, gameplay is completely copy and paste from the last game with a bit more exploration and, well, now you can jump only where the game wants you to, so it's basically useless. Graphics and animations are very impressive, but if you remember Star Wars Battlefront, that's not enough to sell a game. Best of all, IGN gave it a 10 out of 10 and calls it a masterpiece. In my opinion, The Last of Us 2 feels like The Last of Us 1, but with its soul completely ripped out, thus leaving it behind as just another mediocre game. This one was from Drillick. Wow, you guys are awesome. What the F is this story, dude? Like, what were you thinking while making the scenario, huh? What was the ending? Holy S, dude. Okay, dude. Graphics and mechanics are good, no doubt, but the story, no, dude. You screwed up, Neil.
I like how he uses like a first name, like Neil.
Yeah, that's what he said. You screwed up, Neil. And then the last one, this was from the Donkey video. The Last
Oh,
of Us 2 is support the homosexual. That's why I'm not play it. It's just like,
that was filled with so many good reviews.
Oh, so stupid. So dumb. Anyway, good times.
That video game is one of the few, like, we already did a whole episode on it, and I feel
Yeah.
like I could do a whole nother episode on it.
Oh, easily. There's so
Like,
much more to talk
especially after
about.
having like been away from it for so. Oh,
Oh,
I just realized how much clearer I sound when I get closer. This podcast audio is going to be trash.
yeah, that's kind of why like I try to keep it
I
close-ish.
need to get a mic thingy like you have.
Yeah, you
My
need something.
back,
My back. Yeah,
I
no,
do
when
heavy
you
lifting
when
now.
you lean in, you can talk quieter and it sounds so
But
clear.
like the more I think about the game, the more I feel like I could talk about it, and I want to play it again. I don't know if I'm
Hmm.
ready to play it again, but
Yeah, I
I
feel
want to
you.
talk about it more and
That's okay. All right, moving on to my number four. It's
more.
going to be Celeste. Now, I have never been a platforming guy. Like, I am not a platforming guy. Well, like, in the past. I've never been a platforming guy. This game changed gaming for me and how I look at side-scrolling platformers entirely. I would have never touched a platformer prior to this game, but this one just opened my eyes for some reason. Not only had some of the best music I've ever heard in a game, the characters felt honest, they felt genuine. The slow introduction of the new movesets was well timed. It was like the perfect way to introduce new ways to interact with the world. I loved the challenge factor, but the ability to jump back in so quickly was what kept me around. Because if I'd have had to start all over again, that would have been like probably the least appealing thing ever.
Hmm.
So, but again, being able to just start and like dying so many times and being able to start again so quickly was amazing. Um, but it was just insane how well the story like hooked me, and it dealt with like real serious issues, and I just really felt bad for Celeste, the character. No spoilers, but it's such a good story, and I did not expect to be whisked away with such an amazing story from just a platforming game. Like it was just a guided experience with just like 16-bit graphics. It was insane, but I just loved it so much. So because it changed how I look at games in general.
Hmm.
This was easily probably one of the most life-changing games for me. So it's just made me decide to look further than just the next open world AAA game.
Hmm.
And because of this game, I plan to continue to add many side-scrolling platformers to my future backlog because of this game. So yeah.
Well, let me tell you who didn't like this game.
All right.
On Steam, Ocean Man gave it a thumbs down.
Okay.
This game, in a disgrace to good and fun game. This game is several hearts. This effing ghost boss is unpredictable. If you miss one pixel off, there is no way of finishing it. I have 1,000 deaths, and I am only in the middle of this game. F this game, I will never finish it, and it was a waste of my time and money. Game of the year, my butt. Listen, developers, when you have a good idea for a game and a good story to tell, just effing make a good game and fun game. If I wanted hell, I can play LOL or Overwatch. I want my single player experiences to be fun and relaxing with some challenges that you can overcome by learning patterns and getting better skills like effing Cuphead, Hyper, Lixth, Drifter, and Hotline Miami. But
Wow.
this game is over my nerves because even in an effing Dark Souls, you can learn the patterns and you can go and grind to get better stuff. But here, you just jump and dash against a game that everything you touch instantly kills you. And don't get me started in collecting the strawberry E's. If you want to break your keyboard or and mouse, buy this game and play it on standard difficulty. Good luck.
Oh my god. I hate to tell him, but it is about patterns actually. It's the entire game is finding the pattern. Like, the
I know.
timing is huge. It's huge.
Like, it's just each level has its own
Yeah,
pattern. Like, it's a little
exactly.
thing. Like, you could die and you.
Anyway, wow. What did you have more or was that it? Cuz that was
I think
enough for
that one
me.
was it.
That was good. I'm fine with that. That's insane. God, what an idiot.
Yep.
Uh, I don't know. I agree. It was very challenging. It was probably actually the most challenging game I've ever played, but I think I actually appreciated it more because of that. I've never actually been challenged so much in a video game, and to beat it and like, I don't know. I just
Mhm.
I appreciate it that much more. So
I
cool.
knew I was gonna find a super rage like review on this
Hmm.
game, so I was
Oh,
like, "This is
easily. I mean, that's an easy one to find one.
yeah."
Cool.
Like, how
What
many
is?
people just quit this game because they couldn't beat it?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, cool. What is your number four?
All right, my number 4 is Uncharted 4.
Woohoo!
Um, one of the most cinematic experiences I've ever had while playing a game. Almost every moment could be frozen and put into photo mode and made into a piece of art.
So true.
I understand the argument that it was just an interactive movie, but on top of
Hmm.
like the story and the characters, like the combat was engaging, and
Yes.
like again the story was amazing. This is the fourth the story in the series, and I felt like I've been through so much with these characters that you didn't need to retell bits of their history. You just knew it and you saw
Right.
it, and
Right.
like it was subtle and in your face. Like
Hmm.
they played it both ways the whole time.
Right.
I'm one of the few people that would be okay seeing more of the Nathan Drake story,
Okay.
but as long as the character has a backseat, like Nolan North as Nathan Drake is a character that you can't
No,
not have in the game if
you
you're going to
can't.
continue the series.
I agree. I agree. He'd have to be somewhere.
I think he'd be a great Sully, but
I see what you're saying. Like him replace Sully.
yeah, not be Sully and not
Yeah.
creep on all, not creep on all the girls, but
Right. Right. Right.
I think he belongs there.
I agree.
Yeah,
Cool.
that's all I had to say about Uncharted 4.
Well, Mr. J Ray 2700 has something to say. He says, I have played the first 3 Uncharted games. My favorite is Uncharted 2. This is not as good as the older Uncharted games.
Thank you.
That's it.
Cool.
Yeah, so that was him. And then this guy named Meaningless says, I never liked Shooter, and not to mention Uncharted franchise. But to put it in the other way, this is a better one out of the 4. First off, it contains a bit less shooting scene than before. Second, it features a storyline about family and a change of attitude because of life-changing event. This is what hits me as I grew up in PS era and am setting up my own family. But that's it. The puzzle has nothing special. The climbing is not challenging, but at times not very clearly instructed because you basically has no workaround. The path is as linear and scripted as it can be. I get this game from the New Year game bag where you pay for one game and get the other 3 randomly so that I didn't lose too much. After all, I beat the game, but that's not all about it. No replay value unless you like cinematic very much. The movie is quite decent. The movie is quite decent. What movie?
I mean,
Like, is he talking about the game? Like the like the cinematic
I
movie?
think maybe put all the cinematics in a row and it's a good movie. I believe that.
I agree with that. But I just loved all the grammatical errors.
Yeah,
and-
no, those are always fun. I always make sure to read them out loud if I
God,
can.
they're so good. They're so good. Anyway, cool. Moving on to my number 3, Ghost of Tsushima.
Surprise.
A surprise. So this was actually the open world game that I needed this year. I was looking for something that was a cinematic experience, but without it being too complicated and complex, and this was perfect. Easily some of the most beautiful visuals and art style I've ever seen in a game. The combat was extremely fun and addictive. Mastering switching stances and timing your parry was so rewarding. I just can't explain how good it felt to time your parries just right. Smack the sword up and then slice them down the middle and they just like die instantly.
Mm-hmm.
It was so rewarding. Aside from the exploration, it was easily the best part of the game, I think, by far. The combat. The
Yeah.
combat was what just kept me loving the game so much. The integration of the minimal HUD was fantastic. I've always wanted something like that where I didn't have to worry about a HUD.
Yeah.
And the way that they just integrated the wind.
Yeah,
tracking.
not having to look at the map for like a yellow line the entire time, like
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead, was really nice.
It was so refreshing. And I just loved the fact that all the skill trees were so simple. It was, you didn't have to like put much thought into it. It was just, okay, what's next? Okay, this one. Okay, this one. Okay, this one.
Mm.
Crafting was easy. It was just, okay, I just need to find this many supplies and a boar pelt and I'm good to go. So leveling up Jim was just super fun and relaxing because you didn't have to worry about it. You didn't have to think. The story was amazing. The cast was fantastic. It's a beautiful score, like absolutely gorgeous score. And you could really tell Sucker Punch put all their heart and soul into this game because it just showed all over. I got emotional multiple times just listening to the score at times. The score was so beautiful at some of the most amazing cinematic moments. And there are just some really heartbreaking scenes that you go through, and it is really hard. So this is easily my number 3 of the generation. I don't know if it's because it's so fresh and because I just finished it, but that's where it's going
it
to
feels
rest.
weird that so much of my list was like very recent games, and I'm
Mhm.
like, is that recency bias or were they
Right.
legitimately better games?
I agree, and I want to say it's probably because games are something that grow up with you.
Yeah,
And I feel like I think Clay put it perfectly how games are perfect when for like that time, you know? So I
yeah,
feel like
yeah.
the relevancy is going to play a part just because of that.
And like, I feel like, for him, one of his favorite games is the game from that time, but
Right.
it's because of the emotion that he had associated with it.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
like, if you look at them objectively, like if you played all games now for the first time, I think most people would be like, well, obviously this new one is way better.
Right. Right.
So yeah, I was going through the reviews for this game and I saw like a lot of like, oh, it looks trashy, but it's not the most photorealistic game,
No, not at all.
but like they chose an art style, and
They
I
did.
think they executed it almost flawlessly.
I agree.
So I think when people say great graphics, they don't mean it looks like a picture. I think it looks like art.
Right. It fits the game and it fits
Yeah,
it beautifully and it just like it's the aesthetic of all of the combination of everything that just plays so well together. Like the
yeah,
leaves constantly falling from the trees and the wind blowing and the grass brush just blowing in the wind and you see the flock of birds swarming around in the distance. It's just all of it together. It's this gorgeous art piece.
yeah.
It's beautiful. So,
Well, I have two people who disagree.
okay, great. I'd like
First
to hear
one,
there.
uh, absolute disappointment. Raw product feels like early demo. 1 star for the landscapes. Alex Grin, 1 star.
1 star for the landscapes. Wow.
All right, I have one more. This game is beeping awful. I bought it wanting a good, interesting, ancient Japanese style game, but instead I got an unsatisfying, badly designed lump of garbage.
Oof.
Once you get past the tutorial, every fight is virtually impossible. And although at first the combat seems interesting, you soon find out that it is impossible to get into and causes extremely stressful and rage-infusing fights that will leave you smashing your TV in a fit of rage and forgetting what the plot is even about. The story is mildly interesting, but it soon gets drowned out by rage, anger, and artificial difficulty. Do not waste your money on this game. Crystal Abyss, 1 star. And I want
Wow.
to point out that every U, Y-O-U, was spelled out with a U. Just the letter, and
That's
then your
important.
was U-R. So,
That says everything about the person, though, right? You know?
yeah. I just assume you're under 12 if I see these kinds of signs.
Yeah, who writes a review with like the worst like spelling and grammar errors?
I
I
have no
mean,
idea.
why waste your time
Yep.
if you're just gonna like text it?
Yep.
Anyway, cool. What was your number 3, Jeff?
My number 3 was Stardew Valley.
Nice.
This was the ultimate like zone out game for me.
Totally.
I'm not into those repetitive games where there's no real end game. You're just doing it to like design. Like I have a hard time with Animal Crossing. I like Animal Crossing, but I
Right.
can't keep up with it.
Neither
This
can I.
game, for some reason, I was able to sink so many hours into. There's enough free content by this one guy to keep it interesting. And I didn't even realize till halfway through that I could start over and do a JoJo run, like as a
Oh
bad
yeah,
guy.
yeah, I heard
And it
about
has a
that.
whole different set of tasks for you to accomplish. Mod support for this game keeps it interesting and keeps it fresh, and it's all free. Everything I find on there just adds hours and hours of content for me to go into. More
Right.
people to try to romance and marry, and I and it's something that like when quarantine hit, me and Emily played this game for hours.
Oh
Like I think
God,
we
I can
were almost
imagine.
100 each.
Oh my
I
God.
like yeah, I had like just on PC alone, I had like 6,000 minutes in this game.
Holy crap, dude.
Yeah,
That's
that's
impressive.
100 hours on PC alone.
I
And
think the
like
farthest I've ever gotten in Stardew Valley was like December of no, it was like spring of year 2. That's the farthest I've ever gotten.
honestly, I think I got like 3 to 4 years in, but like I would get
Okay.
so into like customizing everything, and I think it does a really good job of setting goals that are obtainable, but you have to grind for it, and the
You have to.
grind is interesting enough that it kept me going.
Totally
Like
agree.
even in the modded one, you can get a tractor which allows you to like ultra fast like clear your crops, water them, and put new ones
Mhm.
in.
Right, right.
And I could have just given it to myself, but they also made a recipe with like iridium bars and lightning rods that you had to
Mm.
do to get it.
Yep, yep.
And like I put in the grind and I got it, and it was so
Wow.
rewarding to get this modded item that I could have just given myself. But like I was very thankful for the mod person to give me like let me work up to it.
That's
So
really cool actually. I like that. That's
yeah,
awesome
I
that they give
really
you the
liked it.
option to do that.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
So that's Stardew Valley.
Cool. Well, Alpha Male's gonna disagree with you here. Uh, for most of my time in Stardew Valley, I was sleeping. No, actually, for most of the time I was in Stardew Valley, I was watering my crops. I know. I know I can get sprinklers, but it's just not worth it. The boring thing is talking to people. It's so boring. There should be an update that allows the player to hurt NPCs. Also, there should be multiplayer. This was before multiplayer, obviously.
Yeah.
Stardew Valley is a finished game with a lot of content missing.
A,
So that was
a finished game
a finished game
with a lot of
a lot missing. Okay. Next one, Winter Spark says, I don't get it. It has graphics from the 1980s, which isn't cute. It's just I guess he's trying to say the S word. It involves a large amount of formulaic grinding to water plants, mine bits of rock, and collect other random crap. Much like what I imagine Farmville is like.
Great.
And that's it. I don't know. It's funny. I feel like Stardew Valley is the only game that I own on, I think, the most of platforms. I own it on mobile.
Oh, yeah.
I own
and
it
it's
on
like only $15, and I don't think I ever paid more than 10.
Yeah, I own it on PC. I think I own it literally on everything that I can play a game on at this point. I own it on Switch. It's so good, and I have yet to put the time in that it deserves, and I really want to at some point. So
yeah,
maybe eventually. So cool. So my number 3. Am I on 3? Oh, am I on 2? Okay, that's right. I'm on 2. My number 2 game of all time is also going to be your number 4, Uncharted 4. I agree with everything you said about Uncharted 4. Just growing up with this franchise was so huge, and I think that is what made the biggest impact on the reason why this game is in my top 5 of the generation. It easily has some of the best cinematic storytelling of all time in gaming, I think, like easily. But again, like I said, I grew up with these characters, and seeing them grow and evolve with me was such a good feeling, especially just to see a good ending, like not spoiling anything, but it was a good ending. It was a great way, I think, to seal off the franchise if they wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't feel like I was hung up in the air, like, okay, now what, They really basically said, we're done. We're done with Nathan's story. It's over, and it really felt that way. But they just do such a good job, Naughty Dog, with telling story without actually having to constantly cut to a cutscene. Like, I love that so much about Naughty Dog. Like, you can continue your journey while learning so much about each of these characters and talking and having full conversations and narratives. It just feels so natural, like if you like you would do if you were walking to the store with a friend. You'd have a conversation while you were walking, and that's what they did in this game, and it was just beautifully done.
I think one of the things that blew me away is you're sitting in a car with your brother and Sully, and your brother's telling a story, and then you're like, oh, we got to move this thing out of the way.
Right.
And he stops telling the story.
Right.
You move the thing, and you get back in the car, and he's like, so anyway, as I was saying, he literally picks up from where he left off in the story. Like, I was like,
it's so
they
good.
didn't do that.
This is a thing?
I thought I just missed the end of the story.
I know, it's so good.
Yeah.
And they just do it so well. It just feels so natural and just, I don't know, it's fluid. It's so fluid. The level design, some of the best I've ever seen. It's just amazing how far you can scale up in some of these levels. And then they throw you all the way back down, and you literally see everything, every location you just had climbed up to, and you're thrown all the way back down through all of it.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing. And then again, best QuickTime events of all time. Easily.
Fair.
Easily. So that's my
Great.
that's why it's my number 2.
Well, Jilly Boy gave it 0 stars, and he said, stupid feminism turns this a bad game. What? Bad story, bad characters. Naughty Dogs should stop this SJW beep in their games or not make games at all. They are getting ruined.
Wow. So having a woman be able to, like, kick ass, like...
She wasn't even the main character!
No, she wasn't. She was, like, a side character, and I think she was even, like, considered a villain for, like, most of it, wasn't she?
Yeah. Well, then there's Elena.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But my point is, like, she could fight. She could handle herself, and it actually was believable, because I know there are times where in movies where it's, like, there's this woman who... she's kicking these guys' ass, and it's like, I don't know. It's just, it's not believable. But if it's done right, it's like, hell yeah, kick ass. It's like, I want to see more of that, if anything. But I think you have to cast it appropriately, because...
But I think you mean in the way where, also, if I were to try to fight these guys, it looks unrealistic.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. Like, if it was you kicking these guys' ass, I wouldn't believe it. And same with me. Like, I wouldn't believe it. And with her, though, totally believe 100%. I was like, yeah, you go, girl. Shit.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I have one more review.
okay.
Uncharted 4 is like The Last of Us. It's long, most of it is boring. From the start till the end of Uncharted 4, you will not find the wow like you did with
Mm,
Uncharted 2. You will not wow like you did in Uncharted 3 plane scene. But you will mostly walk away doing boring things in boring environments. The story makes no bigger sense and offers nothing in return, just like The Last of Us. No
wow.
wonder it was made by the same people. Why did the director responsible for U2 U3 left? She was doing an amazing job, and now I do not want another Last of Us or Uncharted game. It is not fun anymore. I
My
do
God.
not recommend it you for. If you want to have fast-paced action fun with a compelling storyline, just play something else. Keo85, 3 stars.
He was so helpful in letting us know what else we should be playing if we wanted a better action experience.
Play something
Play
else.
something else, like
Mm-hmm.
Gone Home, that walking simulator game. More action.
Mm-hmm.
My God. All right. Well, that was cool. What was your number two, Jeff?
My number 2 was the Final Fantasy VII remake.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the soda's making me burp. The perfect mix of nostalgia and doing its own thing. I love that they expanded on the backstory of Jesse, and it really gave life to some of the other side characters like Biggs and Wedge that I really didn't care about the first time through. They
Okay.
had some fun lines, but they had no substance. And I love not knowing where the story is going to go next. I trust the team with this reimagining. A lot of
Cool.
people are like, I just want a shot for shot remake of the original game. I
Right.
don't know why that's so hard.
Right.
That's not what I like. I guess I get the appeal, but like, why would I want to play the same exact thing again? Like, when I
Yeah.
watch a movie again,
I
I'm
agree.
constantly like, what would happen if he didn't take that apple? Like, I would like
I
to see that.
mean,
Like, and I think that's where this game is heading. Playing the end of the game, it was like 3 or 4 a.m. and I had one friend up and I was texting. I'm like, this is such a stupid game. Like, I'm so mad right now. But as I finished the fight, it won me over, and I got really excited for what the future of this franchise is going to bring.
that's awesome.
Um, yeah, it
Cool.
doesn't take away from the original. It stays its own thing while being inspired. So I loved
That's awesome. Well, William Wesker is going to completely disagree with you here.
it.
Um, he said, effing game was straight up hot garbage. And what the F was they trying to do at the end? Not to mention all it was 100% linear hand-holding Final Fantasy 13 Red reskin with a partial story that made 0% sense by just throwing in a few retarded quests, aka go fetches that for me, with obvious crawl spaces and slowdowns to hide loading and add another pointless hour of gameplay. I even did 100% in less than 30 hours and ended up being one very disappointed gamer. Not even any replay value, and I have replayed OG Final Fantasy VII multiple times on almost every system it's made for. 5 years for this trash. Really? So what's next? Wait for another 5 years for part 2, The Walk to Junon? Then wait for another 5 years for part 3, The Golden Saucer? And so on. If they wanted to make part 1 Midgar only, it should have been a fully open world with a S-ton to do. Not this hot garbage of a mess. Graphics do not make the game, you lazy square grave robbers. Games need content, more than useless filler and a pretty cinematic shell skin.
So it was both just a reskin of the original game and two different from the original game.
Right, he just didn't like the fact that it was Final Fantasy 13 reskin. That's what he was calling it. Oh man. Anyway,
Was
cool.
that it
Well,
for that one?
I know, right? All right, so obviously my number one of the 8th generation, it's
Final
obvious.
Fantasy VII Remake.
Exactly. No. Red Dead Redemption 2, duh. Um so yeah, this game it's meant the world to me, really. I think it's the most immersive video game world I've ever been in my entire gaming career, gaming life. Um Rockstar made this world feel so alive. And accurate to the time period that it was extremely easy just to get lost and wander. You never felt like there was too much of anything. There was the perfect balance of chaos and peace. You know, one minute you'd be trotting on your horse watching the sunset, and the next minute, before you knew it, you were like being robbed on a bridge crossing. Like these guys would just come out and like, give us all your money. It just, you felt like it was your own personal story that you were living through in this time period. Um, there was just so much to do, and I think it's easily the best game for exploration of the entire generation, like hands down. That's just in my opinion. The characters are brilliantly written. You could learn so much about each character just by listening in on conversations and talking to them at camp. I loved that so much. Just being able to get to know each character, and every character meant something. Like they all felt like they were important people and not just an afterthought. Um, I loved the realism, just the level of realism that Rockstar put into this game. Having to clean your weapons, animal carcasses would rot on your horse if you left them on for too long. You had to bathe, your hair grew, you gained weight, you had to clean your horse, you had to feed your horse. The ragdoll effects if you trip down a cliff or a hill, just how far you'd roll down the hill. And then all the little animations they did. Some people hated the animations because they felt like it slowed the game down.
Mm-hmm.
But I personally loved it. I loved watching Arthur Morgan slowly skin a pelt. I loved him slowly lighting a cigarette and like taking a puff and throwing it, and just every little detail they did was so well done. Um, Even like down to the animals, they had over 250 species of animals, and like the possums played possum. I
Yeah.
mean, the level of detail was just so good. I can't think of any other game out there that had this kind of level of detail, and I just really appreciated it. Easily one of the best stories I've ever played in a video game. Arthur Morgan is easily one of my favorite characters of all time. Multiplayer, however, is starting to die down. But if you're just now jumping in, and they just came out with a standalone version of multiplayer as well. If you're
Yeah.
just now jumping in
20
for the first
bucks.
time, yeah, $20, yeah. You're gonna quickly realize how much there is to do. They loaded so much content into the online aspect, and it's just the roles were such a good idea for like more role play factors. So despite how they've kind of like thrown multiplayer to the wayside a little bit with the updates and the DLC, I still feel like you have hours and hours and hours of content that I think will be worth $20 if you're just only going to play it for the online. And then it's just a real big bonus if you have the full game. But yeah, I easily put well over 200 hours into this game, and I could easily put another 200 hours in this game and not get sick of it. And that's why it's my number one game of the generation. So,
And like for reasons you said about other people, the reason it did not make my list is because
mhm.
like the first time it was fine, but trying to replay the story again is
Mm,
with more of an edge. Like
right.
I couldn't take the slog. Like
Gotcha. I enjoyed
the
it.
knowing what was going to happen to the characters, like really took away my want to continue.
I get
Like
that.
it sucked putting in 2 hours and all I accomplished was catching a legendary animal and that's it. I like I have limited like I listed a bunch of games I played today, but like that's a total of like 3 to 4 hours.
Gotcha.
I have limited time, and doing all that to replay a game that I've beaten
Yeah.
is a tough sell for me.
Fair
So
enough.
yeah,
And I totally get that. I understand the game is extremely slow compared to a lot of games, and again, they don't even let you fast travel on the map till you're able to purchase the fast travel option.
yeah,
So it's a real slog. But I think that's why I appreciate it so much is because they forced you to look at the world around you and really appreciate what you were traveling through.
yeah.
And there's not a lot of games that want you to actually slow down and take in all of that. And that's I
Hmm.
think why this game was so special. Why it was so special to me. So,
Yeah. Well, I got two people
oh boy.
that disagree. First one, cannot ride a buffalo and pick up a lady of the night.
Okay.
Huh? Oh, just riding to the next town while typing this. Could have at least made it more fun, like the Wild Hunt or something. Almost to town. Almost. Excelsior. 0 stars.
That was actually really funny. Like I don't actually totally have much beef with that because that's pretty accurate.
Yeah. Next one. Why the beep would anyone waste, as in waste,
Oh boy.
their damn money on this POS? The beeping horses are one of the worst parts of this game. They are just plain stupid. My horse does nothing other than run into Beep and try to get me killed, and she refuses to jump over any obstacles, and yet I just spent 5 beeping, agonizing hours riding on this poor excuse of an animal trying to find a bear in bear territory, and yet all of a sudden, Bears must have gone extinct because there is no beeping bears. What the absolute beep is this stupid beep? Why is it I can find a beeping legendary animal in 30 seconds but can't find a beeping bear in 5 beeping hours? I refuse to waste any more time on this game until that bull beep is fixed. Username FookRDR2, 0 stars.
The best part of the review.
They
Name
made it
Fook
They made an
RDR2.
account just to trash this game.
They named this. Oh my god. Well, Fook RDR2. I have one thing for you. Hold down X, my dude. Your horse is not going to run into anything if you just hold down
But it
X.
slows down.
Well, yeah, when you're running through like forests, like with
Even
heavily
just running
tr-
in an open
wooded
field,
areas.
like they're like, hold X to hold your speed. No, it slows down.
No. When you're in an open field, you want to tap X. You want to tap it and match it with the horse's gallop to actually increase the speed and keep it going at that speed. But when you're riding through a heavily wooded area and you don't want to hit a tree, if you hold down X, the horse automatically will avoid every single obstacle.
But I want to go fast.
Okay, well.
All
right, man. Number one.
Number one is Spider-Man. I picked this game because it's the greatest Spider-Man movie I've ever seen.
Cool.
Yuri has the perfect voice for Spider-Man.
Hmm.
It reminded me of the old 90s cartoon, whom I loved as well. I think he got Peter and Spider-Man perfect. Like, that voice matches for both of them. Great. I was super emotionally invested in the entire cast during the entire run-through. There were some boring and frustrating bits, looking at the bits where you're Mary Jane, or trying to solve the chemistry puzzles as Peter Parker.
Some of those puzzles were kind of, eh.
But overall, this is the Spider-Man that I grew up with. Like, Spider-Man was my guy. Like,
Nice.
I loved the cartoon. I loved the action figures. I had so much Spider-Man stuff. I cried during this game. I cried repeating the end of this game to my mom. My cousin's son recently played the game, and she texted me that he beat it, and now he's crying. And now I get to get him Miles Morales for Christmas, which to me improved on the game in many ways.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I love that game.
It's awesome.
Who didn't? Tell me.
Bernardo Upowd did not like this game.
Okay.
Incredibly overrated and overhyped. Realistically, it's a 7 out of 10. Gameplay become boring. That's the entire review.
They gave it a 7 though?
Yeah, it said realistically it's a 7 out of 10. Gameplay become boring.
Okay.
So this is another one. Gorgor Smash says, busy work fetch quests, go find 53 backpacks, take pictures of every landmark, take pictures of cats. So freaking boring. This is every boss fight. Dodge, L1 plus R1 to throw item at boss. Triangle to swoop in. Square 3 to 4 times. Dodge, R2 to web away. Dodge, L1 plus R1 to throw an item at boss. Triangle, square 4 times. Repeat. There is zero effort or skill to beat any boss. This was such a letdown. What people have hated in the Assassin's Creed series, pre-Origins, they are praising in this game. There is absolutely nothing innovative or exciting about this game. If this wasn't a Spider-Man game, people would hate it. Plus the stealth sections. It took less than 1 week to beat complete story with 80% overall completion. Kept playing hoping later bosses would get better. It got good when the end credits rolled.
How long do you expect to play a linear Spider-Man
Right.
game for?
I
1 week? That's great.
I spent like over a month playing this game, but that's because I think I waited for the weekends to do it on stream, which I platinumed as well. And then Ray Sensei says, cringy ass normie game with just as cringy dialogue and voice lines. Some missions, most of them, are just plain effing stupid. And Peter's genius just comes from effing writing, oh, I better just real quick cure cancer. I should be able to craft a anti-cancer serum from thin air with the use of bubble gum and some air molecules, a splash of some duct tape, and enhance it with WD-40. F off.
Okay, that was good.
Yeah.
That was good. All right.
So yeah, that was Ray
that one
Sensei.
had legitimate gripes, and
Right?
I appreciate it.
I'm gonna cure cancer real quick
Using bubble gum.
and WD-40. Oh my god! So there you go, guys. Those are our top 10 of the generation, even though it's top 9, but still, top 10 of the gen. Cool. So moving on, before we do our give it an hour, we're gonna do a quick game of 10 words where Jeff and I have picked a game for each other, and we have to describe the game by using only one word at a time. And the goal is to guess the game with as little guesses as possible. So Jeff, did you want to go first? Do you want to go first?
I can go first.
All right, cool. So I'm giving you the words, right?
Oh yeah, we could do that way.
Okay, cool. All right, so the first word I'm gonna give to you is run.
I hate you so much. Limbo.
No.
You
Next
paused
word.
and I'm like, did I get it?
No, I was like, wait, what did you say? Next word is spin.
Crash Bandicoot.
Yep.
Ooh.
Dang it.
Now I feel bad because I made this
Dang
harder like you usually do.
Well, because it was actually really hard to make this one hard. Because it was like I had run, spin, fruit, cortex, islands, crates, TNT, masks, Wumpa, and mojo.
I definitely would have gotten it. I think cortex should have been the last word. I would have 100% gotten it there.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I didn't know you memorized the villain's name.
Okay. He's
So
in
that
all
was
of
what?
them, so.
That was
I got
9?
the second word, so 9.
Yeah, 9 points for Jeff.
I switched it up and I numbered it 10 down to 1, so that way I know how many points you got based on the word.
Oh, there you go.
All right. I'm gonna cut it down to 9 because I feel like I made it too hard.
All right.
And I'll combine the first two into one mega word.
Oh, that's
First
nice.
word. First person shooter.
It's a game I played though. So
Yes.
and we're eliminating series, right? So if it's Call of Duty, it's Call of Duty.
Sure.
Okay. First person shooter. I'm gonna say Battlefield.
No.
Okay.
Montana.
Oh, Far Cry 5.
Yeah.
Nice.
Dang it. I should have put them in. I think the rest of these words were too easy too. I had
Really?
Deputy, Hope, Dog,
Oh, yeah.
Bear, Colt,
Yeah.
Ubisoft,
Yep.
and
Yep.
Joseph.
Yep, I would have gotten all that.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, we each got 9.
Cool. All right.
So I think you're still like 1
I'm
or 2
only
points
one
ahead.
Yeah, I have it. I have it here, but I'll take note.
Yeah.
Cool. That was a really quick game of 10 words. That was like the fastest ever.
Originally,
Amazing.
I wrote shooter and then first person.
Shooter, first person shooter. Actually, that honestly though, like I wouldn't have been upset because that's, but really I think that the big thing is like trying to describe the game as best as possible without actually giving the answer.
Yeah.
And the thing with Hue, because I know that was the hardest one I've ever given you, but if you look at the actual description of the game, that's literally like they have no description of the game other than
it's different.
color.
Like if you haven't played the game and you look at the Wikipedia article looking
That's
for
true.
keywords rather than it being a game you played, like when I did Far Cry 5, that's
Mhm.
easy for me because like I know deputy is an important word in that game.
True.
You, for example, did not know cortex was a super important word in that
That's
game.
true. I didn't.
So it's hard having not done a game to identify what important words are.
That's true. Also, to be fair, I've not played nearly as many games as you have.
I know, yeah. So this game's a little harder for you.
Yeah, exactly. So there's that too.
Yeah. All right.
It's also harder for you because you got to come up with the games. Like, what has he not played yet?
Like, if you notice, a lot of mine are games we've clearly talked about.
Right. It's true.
So yeah, we're gonna need you to go through all your games.
I know. It's okay. I'm gonna start doing a Let's Play series on YouTube, which I will talk about at the end of the show.
Cool.
Before we leave. Okay, cool. So moving on to the main event, Give It an Hour, where Jeff and I suggest a video game for us to play each week, and we review it, whether we decide whether we want to add it to our backlog or not. This week, I told Jeff he needed to play The Witness, and I needed to play Battle Block Theater. I'm going to come out and say it immediately. I did not get a chance to play Battle Block Theater because we had planned on playing it before this episode tonight. However, I totally forgot that my sister-in-law was having a COVID wedding.
He forgot a wedding.
I forgot. They hadn't talked about it in like a week or two, and we were just having like a Zoom dinner.
If you remembered before 3:00, we could have played this morning. I got a text at 3:00.
But I did do this. I watched a video of the trailer and some gameplay, and I'm going to say this right now. If I had to pick this between Castle Crashers if I had to pick this or Castle Crashers, I would definitely pick Battle Block Theater. Because I liked the puzzle aspect. I loved the idea that you have to like throw your friend to like get to certain items, and like sometimes you have to risk like, well, what's going to happen if we jump? And then you sacrifice your friend by throwing them to see if it's a death trap.
Yeah.
And I think that's absolutely hilarious and super clever of of a game design. I think it's super fun. It looks like a lot of fun, so I want to play with you eventually.
Yeah.
But I apologize for not being able to play this week. But yeah, so it's all you, buddy. Tell us
Yeah.
about The Witness. Maybe we want to go over that review first.
Yeah. So you said that you sat and played this game with Shannon, and
I
like
did.
she sat next to you and helped you with the puzzle. So I had Emily join me.
Cool.
And I think you had an idea of how I would feel about this game.
Yes.
And you solved that first puzzle, and I turned to Emily and I said, I hate this game. And like
Oh.
she watched me do the first couple puzzles, and then she picked up her cross stitch and just cross stitch the whole time I played it. And like if I was particularly stuck on a puzzle, she would look up and she'd be like, "Why don't you just do that?"
Nice.
Oh, that's a good point. And then I would get it.
Nice.
I thought it was very vivid and colorful, and the environment was a beautiful art style.
Cool.
I hate those puzzles. I hate those types of puzzles. For a second, when you go to the part where the dots both dots follow the movement, I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then I did a second one, and I'm back to hating these puzzles. And then I think I got stuck on the ones that were the trees.
Okay.
And I didn't equate, like I was at the first tree, and then I solved it just by trial and error.
Gotcha.
And I got to the second one, and I got it wrong immediately. And I was
like, man.
Oh no. And I was like, maybe it has something to do with the trees. And I looked at the trees, and I'm like, I don't see anything. So I would solve the first one again, and I would go back to the second one, and then I would solve that one. And then when it was wrong, I went and had to do the first one again, and I went back to the second one, and I'm like, okay, I got them both open, and I moved, and there was a third one, and then I went and I solved the third one, and it was wrong, and I went back to the second one, and then I got to the fourth one, where Emily said again, does it have to do with the trees? And I looked up, I said, there is a red ball in that tree.
There you go.
And I went back and I looked at all the trees and all the correct answers to the puzzles, and I'm like, they all have balls in them, except for the last one, which was just a broken branch.
Right.
But I figured it out by then. I did not enjoy how much backtracking I had to do in this game.
Okay.
I don't like, this is not the game. Like Emily told me there was like 620 puzzles in this game. And I was like, no, no, I'm done with this game. No. Like, did I start at 39 or 49? I don't care. I'm done.
I'm sorry, man. It was like the last game I could find on my backlog that you hadn't touched yet.
Yeah. So it was like the worst part of a walking simulator.
Fair enough.
Mixed with the worst part of a puzzle game, and I was
gonna ask if you'd have liked this in VR, but that's obvious. It doesn't matter.
No,
so.
I don't. I just don't like that kind of puzzle. It's not my thing. Those puzzles are not my thing.
Fair enough. Well, players too, our Instagram review would totally disagree with you. They said The Witness is one of my games of the generation, hands down. A subtle, surprisingly difficult puzzle adventure which leaves you to explore its world and crack its complex codes. One to be savored, needing patience, which is well rewarded. I played with a pal. 2 brains, better than 1 for sure.
I thought about that. I'm like, do I feel rewarded after figuring out this puzzle? And ultimately, I went with no.
No.
Because then it just lit up and led you somewhere else. And I'm like, I feel nothing. Like, I got up to a picture of a tree with a heart in it. So I'm like, the trees are alive? Okay.
I feel nothing. I love that.
There was no self-confidence or sense of accomplishment in this game.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
All right.
I mean, I owned the game because I think it was free. So I kind of check it off my backlog.
All right, cool. Great.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. So,
So it's not staying there.
Not on the backlog. I mean, backlog, Battle Block Theater, I'll try it. I don't think I'm going to add it to my backlog because, again, I'm not into multiplayer games as much as I used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Really, I'm just looking for good solo experiences or really good story games where multiplayer is co-op.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
where I feel like if Battle Block Theater had like a good story or if it was more like immersive.
Dude, I just laugh my butt off every time I play that game. I think that's the biggest appeal. Like, I laugh hysterically.
Yeah, I could tell because I was watching like the trailer and I was like, this looks hilarious. It's like just watching you throw your friend and then it decimated or like bounce against the walls and get smashed and killed.
And then like the announcer between each level and the storyteller is really funny, and the story is like he just tells the story, and it's cool. Outrageous and stupid.
That's hilarious. Stupid.
But yeah, that was the one Give It an Hour, and I think we're both playing the same game this week.
So that's next week. I
Oh,
was thinking,
crap. All right, hold on.
yeah.
You say the game that you're going to play. Talk
So
about it.
I was thinking we would pick a game from our backlogs that we actually haven't played yet.
Got it. I thought we agreed that was this week, but I had a feeling that I would be wrong, so I pulled up my list.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, so it is this week. It is this week.
All right.
So I'm going to be playing Subnautica. I was like, what was the name? I was like, oh my god, Subnautica. So
And then for those of you that aren't aware, we're since Nathan is running out of games to play, or that to give me that he played, Nathan is now picking a game off of his own backlog for me to try. So Nathan picked Subnautica.
Oh, no, this is a game I'm going to play.
Yes.
I'm
sorry, you're playing it. You're picking it for yourself.
Exactly, I'm picking for myself.
This is a game that's already on your backlog.
Exactly.
And you're going to decide if you're going to continue playing.
I haven't even touched it. I haven't touched it.
Yeah. So the game that I am going to pick up off of my backlog, it's kind of cheating. I played it for 5 minutes.
Okay, well.
But I want to give it a fair shake. Is Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool.
So I'm going to give that one a shot.
Shoot, I could have recommended that one for you.
I know, you wasted it.
That would have been a much better recommendation than The Witness. I'll tell you that right now.
Would have.
Anyway, okay, cool. So I'll be playing Subnautica for the first time, and Jeff will be playing definitely a lot more of Horizon Zero Dawn than 5 minutes. So those are our games, our Give It an Hour games of the week. You can also send us your reviews of these games if you've played them or if you want to play along with us. We post a Twitter and Instagram post weekly on Tuesdays, and that's where you can leave your reviews for each of these games. Or you can email us at contact@backloggandbeyond.com, where you can leave us your reviews or whatever you want to say about us, or suggestions, questions that we could read on the show, whatever you want. Just contact us there. And also, as a reminder, we are live on Twitch right now, which we record the show live every Saturday night at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, not Specific Standard Time. And then we do a little Q&A after the show that is not recorded on the podcast. So if you'd like to join the Q&A after the shows, be sure to join us on Twitch at twitch.tv/AdventureHawkins. That is my personal Twitch, and we'll be there. So as always, you can find me in all the social medias at Adventure Hawkins. On Twitter, it's Adventure without the E. Also, I'm going to plug something real quick. I will be starting my first Let's Play series on YouTube for this new indie coming out called Unto the End. It's a cinematic platformer by 2 Ton Studios, I believe, and it looks awesome. It's about this father who's lost, and he's trying to get back to his family. And apparently the combat is really difficult, but the design looks absolutely gorgeous, and I'm really intrigued.
What's it called again?
Unto the End. So I'll probably
Isn't
have you try this one.
Was that one of the games that was in Impacted Games?
It was no. This was one of the games that we saw on it was during the IGN Summer of Gaming. It was on day 3 of their indie
do you have
game
it on
showcase.
PlayStation?
Yes.
Maybe I'll try it.
So I'm going to be playing that. I haven't downloaded it yet because they don't have it available to purchase yet. So it's coming out Wednesday, which is when I plan to also record the series and post. So I'm recording same day that I download. So I'm going to buy it, and then you can check it out after.
I want you to all expect to hear the phrases "as a husband" or "as a father."
Dude, it's already
at least 15 times.
It's going to be the first thing I talk about.
As a father and as a husband, I'm really excited to play this game. I don't think any of you can relate to my experiences.
Exactly.
Only I
Not
can.
at all.
None of you have empathy.
Nobody else has.
None of you.
Nobody. So look forward to that. It'll be either out on Wednesday or this Thursday. My first playthrough of probably part 1 and maybe part 2, depending how much time I have, of Unto the End. So check it out at my YouTube. So yeah, it's on my link tree. Anyway, Jeff? Where can we find you?
I'm everywhere. Zavadabadoo. I'm reading Alex's comments in the tweets, and I can't stop laughing.
I know.
I do it for my
hilarious.
girls. My girls come first.
This Let's Play is for my girls. All right. Well, let's finish off the show. I have a joke for you, Jeff.
Great.
As always. Here we go. My wife tells me I have 2 major faults. I don't listen, and something else.
Like I knew where it was going. It's like, first, she tells me to do the laundry. Second, she tells me that I don't do the dishes enough. Third, I need to make the bed. Fourth, I need to cook dinner every once in a while. And there's more. And there's like 5, 6, 7, 8.